Get ready.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year! Yes, 2025 has departed, but before we bid farewell to the year that was, it's time to look back at that very year and celebrate the best movies that it had to offer. Now, obviously, you can probably tell I'm recording this in 2026. Usually, I try and churn these out right at the tail end of the year. Unfortunately, I kinda had my ass handed to me and got hit by a bitch of a virus, which put me out of action for quite a few days. I am all good now, though, although you can probably hear that my voice is playing catch up. So, let's just see if it lasts the video. As always, when we do these sorts of videos, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 movies of the past year, and there are always specifics I want to mention before we properly get underway. Any films that count towards being in this list had to have been released in the UK in 2025. Any date between January the 1st and December the 31st, but it either needs to be released theatrically or at least debut on a streaming service. And because the UK tends to have some staggered releases compared to other territories such as the United States, there may be some films on this list that just don't feature, partially because they haven't been released yet, or they may have featured on some people's lists last year, but, in the UK we're quite behind the times on certain things, so they only were released in 2025. It's also worth noting that despite my best efforts, I don't get the opportunity to see every single film released throughout the year. So if you're wondering why certain films might not be in this list, films that you would have thought were the best of the year, I can only do so much. Films such as Die My Love, Train Dreams, and It Was Just an Accident. Look, I eagerly wanted to see them, but I just didn't get round to it. I have to pat myself on the back just a little bit though, because I did manage to see 95 new releases this year, which I don't actually think is a bad attempt. And my final point, and it's a point I reiterate every single year, this is my list. It is entirely subjective. That is film in general. I may have films on this list that you'll agree with, and I may have some that you don't. Mild spoiler alert as well, despite being the most acclaimed of the year, I want to just rip the band-aid off now. One Battle After Another and Marty Supreme did not make the list. Now, they were damn close, but ultimately, they were just edged out. Now, before we come to my honourable mentions, I want to briefly shine a dismal spotlight on what takes the wooden spoon for my worst movie of 2025. Recently, I haven't dedicated a whole video to do this anymore, and instead, if you want to see my full list of what I thought were the worst movies of 2025, you can check that out over on my Letterboxd. However, the turkey of the year goes to the only film that drove me to drink, and that is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Just an all-around atrocity of a film that aims to spoon-feed fans, alienate the rest of the audience, and try to butter you up for a sequel that hopefully never comes. But with all that's said and done, let's shift gears onto my honourable mentions. And these are films that narrowly missed out on my top 10, but I wanted to acknowledge anyway. The Smashing Machine. A very grounded, raw, almost fly-on-the-wall look at the challenges early UFC fighter Mark Kerr faced both in and out of the ring, anchored by a game-changing performance from Dwayne Johnson. Black Phone 2. I was somewhat lukewarm on the first, but Scott Derrickson and his team scored a ripper with the sequel. Leaning massively into Nightmare on Elm Street territory, this gave me classic 80s horror nasty vibes. The Fantastic Four: First Steps. After so many missteps with Marvel's first family, they had to get this one right. And boy, did they. The chemistry and dynamics amongst the family were spot on. It was incredibly scientific in nature and refreshingly felt appropriately self-contained. And Nosferatu. Nosferatu came out at the top of the year and is arguably the film Robert Eggers was destined to make. The gothic atmosphere was etched into every frame. The darkness and grisly nature to the story was expertly accomplished, and Bill Skarsgård was unrecognizable as Count Orlok. And so finally, with all of these frivolities out of the way, let's get started with my number 10.
Come on, stick with me. Stick with me.
That's it.
Stick with me.
That's it, kid.
Stick with me.
on,
We're right on pace. We're right on pace. Stick with me, okay? Just keep walking.
That's right.
Just keep walking.
1, 2,
Curly.
3, 4.
Just keep
You
walking.
got it. Come on, young.
Keep walking.
You got it.
We just gotta stay at
We
this
good, we
pace.
good. Come on,
We just gotta stay at this pace.
Boy, you got this, man.
Come on, Curly. Come on, Curly. It's just you and me. Come on. Come on, Curly.
Eyes up.
Come on, Curly.
Come on, young.
Come on, Curly. Come on. Come on, Curly. Come on.
Warning, number 7. Third warning.
Get up, kid!
Get up, youngin. Get up.
Oh, but it ain't fair! No, it ain't fair! It ain't fucking fair!
The Long Walk is based on one of Stephen King's earlier novels when he was writing under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. Funnily enough, there was another film that came out also based on a novel written by Stephen King's early pseudonym, although The Running Man, spoiler alert, that isn't going to make this list. Going into the film, I actually knew very little. I made a conscious effort not to research heavily into the story itself. I didn't want to read the book beforehand, and I barely watched any of the trailers. And I'm really glad that Francis Lawrence's film kept it simple. This is a not post-apocalyptic, but slightly dystopian future where society hosts this extended walk where a young man from each and every state comes together, and it's just a walking competition. However, after 3 warnings of whether you stop or you fall below the recommended speed limit, you are executed on sight. So it is literally a case of last man standing. And with films that deal with some sort of demented dystopian game or society, you're usually treated to about an hour's worth of backstory before we actually focus on the thing itself, the titular walk in this case. But that's not what happens in this film. This film only encompasses the walk itself. We have a great young ensemble tasked with physically and emotionally demanding roles. You really feel for the boys because they develop such a camaraderie amongst one another. There are, of course, a few butting of heads and many disagreements, but the core group, your heart yearns for them. David Johnson, I thought, was fantastic, and he continues to be one of my top stars to keep an eye on. And the violence in the film is deliberately unsettling. This is by no means an easy watch, but it is one of the best of the year.
Wait, they're about to say something on the German radio. I'm gonna put you on the speaker.
Hier ist der Bayerische Rundfunk mit Nachrichten.
München.
Marianne, can you translate this?
Let me check my receiver.
Wechsel innerhalb des Olympischen Dorfes gab.
There have been reports of shots being fired inside the Olympic Village.
Überfall von sogenannten Terroristen auf
Reports that have not yet been confirmed by the police say that the Israeli team may have been attacked by so-called terrorists.
I'll be there at 20.
September 5 came in completely under the radar for myself, and in the past awards season too. I think it may have sneaked a screenplay nomination, but that was about it. It tells the story of the terrorist attack that took place during the Munich Olympic Games in the 70s, but specifically from the perspective of a small American news station posted out in Munich. At face value, it is a fast-paced, analytical, claustrophobic thriller told in real time from that small quarter of the TV station. The entire cast all give terrific performances, as it is a bit of a slapdash to try and figure out what's going on, the safety of the people involved, whether they can make it to air, who's presenting. It was a nice peek behind the curtain to see how a TV station runs in this sort of situation. But what spoke to me larger in the film and what struck me the most was the sudden ethical dilemma it places upon the structure of broadcast news. Not wanting to get into any specifics because I was slightly unfamiliar with the real life news story at play, but it does pose a remarkably thought provoking question about journalistic integrity.
He looks like Montgomery Cliff. Woo! Oh my gosh, I was saying this just the other day. Montgomery Cliff. He is so handsome. Luke is so handsome.
You're not helping.
I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Luke is hot. His eyes are bluer than the ocean. He has a better narrative.
No, he doesn't. I have a better narrative. I was married to her for 65 years, and I gave her children.
Exactly. We go with that. That's strong. There's nothing more powerful than emotional blackmail.
Right?
Good on you.
We get so many films where we are handed a very intriguing premise and concept, but the film itself winds up being squandered and pretty dismal. Case in point, we had that this year with A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. But Eternity is a prime example of when that fantastic concept is followed up on and developed into a fantastic movie. It feels so enjoyable that premise was, in my opinion, fully capitalized on. I am yet to have the chance to speak about Eternity on this channel, but to put it bluntly, I loved it. This is my sort of quirky romance. The world building of the whole choosing your reality was well explored. Miles Teller, Elizabeth Olsen, Callum Turner, and Divine Joy Randolph all give tremendous performances, and it isn't afraid to pose some difficult philosophical questions about what if you were reunited with your lost love in the afterlife, but are also with your most recent partner. And what I appreciated most is that the script didn't try to make some larger claim about this sort of belief that I've just mentioned, and actually focuses itself on the central story and the individual decision at play. The film is charming, funny, witty, and truly earnest.
Oliver! Excuse me. Oliver! No. Give me the cat. Give me the cat. Let him go. I got you. Let him go, Ollie.
And
A couple years ago, the Philippou twins bulldozed their way into the horror landscape with Talk to Me, and they have since proved themselves no one-trick pony. Bring Her Back is just as, if not even more, shocking, grotesque, and horrifying than Talk to Me, but all of it is anchored by significant emotion within the storytelling. For all the bloodshed, the story is ultimately one about coping with grief. For the character played uncomfortably well by Sally Hawkins, she experiences the worst imaginable grief and tries to deal with it whatever means she can. The Philippou twins prove to me that they can still conjure up nightmarish imagery, and all of that VHS nastiness is a testament to that. But they also showcased how mature of a pair of storytellers they are, and that to me is what has me most excited about whatever is next from them.
Can we have a dialogue, please?
Don't call it a dialogue. This isn't Death of a Salesman.
Okay, can we talk, please? Or are you just going to
We
keep
don't
doing
need to talk.
Yes, okay.
Because I know exactly what you're going to say. You're going to say that I'm in some kind of internet-induced, auto-hypnotic feedback loop and gatekeepers and norms and all that weak hegemonic horse shit. But that is precisely the limp dick rhetoric that you've been instructed to counter the human insurgency with. That's the fucking hyper-normalized dialectic by which you've convinced 7.5 billion people that they're not your captives. To keep us believing in these fucking false institutional fucking shibboleths.
You mean shibboleths?
In my review of Bugonia, I remember saying that whilst I am a fan of Yorgos Lanthimos when he's at his quirkiest, it's actually when he's in charge of a darker, slightly more realistic psychological thriller that he tends to win me over more. And with Bugonia, that was exactly the case. Emma Stone is once again phenomenal as a pharmaceutical CEO who is kidnapped and essentially tortured by two conspiracy nutjobs who are convinced she's an alien. What I found so discomforting about Bugonia is how something like this could effectively happen, and how Lanthimos' direction and the screenplay really tap into that. With misinformation and the wildest of conspiracy theories being tossed around nowadays, you can easily see how dangerous this become, and it is in the film that shows these consequences. Jesse Plemons was 100% the standout here. He gives one of the best performances of the year as a character who you honestly cannot work out is a genius-level sociopath or a volatile moron. Hand on heart, I appreciate this wasn't the best Mission Impossible film to date. I think that honor still goes to Fallout. But Final Reckoning bowed out in extraordinary fashion. In terms of cinematic experiences, you'd be hard pushed to find another film as jaw-dropping as The Final Reckoning was. Providing you're obviously up to date with Dead Reckoning, or Dead Reckoning Part 1 as it was awkwardly now titled, this final chapter wastes no time in getting off to the races, ensuring that the stage for this ultimate showdown is well and truly set. I know some people were quite critical of the film's first hour in that it took too long to get going, but I appreciated the laying of the table. It drove home just how monumental these stakes were. And then the final 2 hours, my word, they are among the most electric cinema has ever seen. Essentially, they just comprise of 2 extended action set pieces. Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie went for broke. Deep sea dives, spinning submarines, clinging onto a biplane. For those that want to go to the cinema for an experience, Final Reckoning is the best sort of experience that you can realistically have in a cinema. It had my heart in my mouth, applauding at the remarkable stunt work, and all celebrated as I watched it in IMAX. Was it the best way the Ethan Hunt saga could have ended? No, but that's why it's only number 5 on this list.
Doctors and specialists, they talk about Tourette's, but they haven't experienced it. She's never met anyone else who has it. Lucy, could you step outside the car, please?
Fuck off. We've got John with us.
Okay, open up.
Fuck off, you pedo. I'm a minor. What are you doing that for?
Stop me giving you a smack in the face.
I'm not talking to you.
No worries. Be honest, it's nice to have a few minutes off work.
Part-time slag.
I spunked on a jellyfish.
You're a wanker.
Today.
Time for another film I am yet to have the pleasure of talking about, and this is one that deserves every bit of love possible. I Swear tells the true story of John Davidson, who developed Tourette's syndrome when he was just a boy in the 1980s. Considering Tourette's wasn't properly understood back then, John goes through his life facing countless struggles and setbacks, all because his disability isn't viewed as that, and instead it's just regarded as him being a troublemaker. The film follows his life from a child through to nearly present day as it accounts all of his awareness work. No hyperbole here. I Swear is a future British classic. It has all of the makings. It is quintessentially British, with plenty of jokes that would fly over the heads of many non-Brits. It captures the time of the 80s, 90s, and the noughties so well, but above all else, contains a deep sense of the human spirit. Robert Aramayo is being sorely overlooked by awards bodies because this is astonishing work from this actor. He never loses himself in the tics, and even when a couple are played for laughs, always ensures the meaning of his character remains. You will definitely laugh and you will definitely cry. Put it this way, my mum hasn't seen the film yet, and I just know that if she had seen this film last year, it would probably be her favourite.
That's the third safety car involving the Apex GP driver, bringing the Hungarian Grand Prix to an absolute crawl.
A sub 3 second stop and he'll keep P10.
Box, Joshua, box.
Copy, coming in.
What did you say?
Joshua Pierce finally gets to pit.
And with a quick stop here, he could stay in the top 10.
This is critical. Pierce must be strolled to the pit exit line to maintain 10th place.
And he's done it!
Now, I'm going to preface something before we dive on into my explanation for this number 3 pick. I am going to be incredibly biased here because I am a die-hard Formula 1 fan. And going into the film, this movie was either going to spectacularly miss and give me none of the same thrill that I have when I watch the sport, or it would smash it out of the park, delivering the most immersive racing movie ever made. Well, given that it's number 3 on this list, I'll let you guess how it ended up. F1, the movie, was the best pure blockbuster in 2025. Crowd-pleasing cinema that got F1 fans and newcomers alike together in a cinema screen and transfixed for 2.5 hours. Joseph Kosinski clearly took all of the skills he learnt when making Top Gun Maverick and went, okay, now what if we do all of that, but with cars instead? And the results were thunderous. The racing sequences were unlike anything I'd ever seen before. Close, practical, will-to-will racing, fully living within the established F1 world, garages, paddocks, even the drivers themselves. All of it added to the overall immersivity. Sure, the story isn't anything totally original. The veteran coming out of a retirement to help the newcomer and struggling team. It is the tried and tested sports movie formula, but hey, if it ain't broke. Brad Pitt squeezes every ounce of likable leading man quality he can into the role as Sonny Hayes, and Damson Idris really makes a name for himself as his partner, Joshua Pierce. And to cap it all off, Hans Zimmer's score is one for the songbooks too, a brilliant fusion of techno beats with Zimmer's typical building crescendo. The movie had me on the edge of my seat, enjoying Formula 1, but in the medium of a movie. So much so, I saw it 5 times in cinemas.
You weren't lying. This oven is disgusting.
It sure was fun to talk about a dirty bird, but it would be unsanitary.
Oops. Well, hot brine is the most important part.
It sure is. Uh-oh, this is my Buster. He must have smelled what's going on.
As I often state when I watch a film, sometimes you want to be deeply moved, thrilled beyond compare, swept up in a romance, hiding behind your fingers in terror. At the end of the day, you just want to feel something. And sometimes you want to laugh your ass off. And no film this year had me laughing more than the reboot of The Naked Gun. Ultimately, The Naked Gun did everything it set out to do, and realistically, that was just one thing: make its audience laugh. And when I tell you that I was in stitches for the entire runtime, I'm really not over exaggerating. It has been a long, long time since we have had comedies like this. A comedy that isn't afraid of cheap jokes, silly one liners, or utterly preposterous visual gags. If it has the potential for a laugh, they're gonna go for it. Much of the Naked Gun's success is down to one of Liam Neeson's best performances to date, and I do mean that wholeheartedly. It was these sort of comedies that I was brought up on, so to see them hopefully having some sort of resurgence or revival honestly fills me with glee. Just like F1, this is a movie that I can see myself rewatching countless times, and in the case of Naked Gun, I don't think I would ever stop laughing. And finally, we reach the number one spot. If you've seen videos like this in the past, or if you've seen previous countdowns on my channel, you'll often get times where we could be sat here saying that, oh, we were stuck there between the top two and couldn't decide, and this is just a flip of the coin. Here's the thing. This number one is actually the easiest number one movie I have had in years. In fact, if you've watched my channel throughout the year, you should already know what it is, because it is the only film that I have given a 10 out of 10 to this whole year.
Somebody take me into home tonight.
Blues. It wasn't forced on us like that religion. No, sir. We brought this with us from home. It's magic what we do. It's sacred. And big.
There are legends of people born with the gift of making music so true it can pierce the veil between life and death, conjuring spirits from the past and the future.
Somebody take me in your arms tonight. Somebody take me.
I'm confident that most of the films that I've brought up on this list thus far will be regularly discussed about for years to come. But for Sinners, I'm confident that this film will be a cultural staple in cinema for decades onward. The term magnum opus is often thrown around, but for Ryan Coogler and Sinners, it couldn't be more accurate. Sinners is the film I believe Coogler has been building his entire career ready to make. A wholly original blend of Southern Delta blues, prohibition drama, and also some vampiric antics, Sinners is a film you don't come across all that often. Gorgeously shot on IMAX film, capturing the stunning landscapes of the American Delta, but also the horrors, both vampire and human. Michael B. Jordan turns in two outstanding performances as a set of twins prepping to make a juke joint, only for their opening to be thrown into turmoil due to the unwelcome arrival of those pesky bloodsuckers. But the true star of the show is the music of Sinners. Ludwig Göransson's score breathes an entirely new lease of life into the movie, capturing past, present, and future all within those musical beats. It becomes a character within the film as young Sammy takes a hold of his gift and transports audiences into one of the most dazzling sequences I have seen all year. Sinners is a demonstration of a filmmaker and his cast and crew all working at the height of their talents. And it's not just the best film I've seen in 2025, but possibly within many, many years. So there we have it. Sinners takes the top spot as my best movie of 2025. But of course, those are just my opinions. Please share your thoughts down below. Do you think any films should have been on this list? Are there any that you're surprised to see? Most importantly though, what was on your list? What was your favorite movie of 2025? Next up in my 2025 in review series, we'll be turning our attention to the future. We'll be looking towards this current year, 2026, as I share the 20 films that I am most looking forward to. But that is all the time we have for today, so thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.